Why do people feel lonely even when they're in a relationship? What are the first signs that a couple is moving from being partners to roommates?
Is the loneliness that I'm feeling in a relationship just a phase, or is it a sign that this relationship is over? We will be covering these topics and more in today's podcast.
Hi, I'm Kester,
And I'm Kavitha.
and welcome to the Intentional Couple podcast, where we dive deep into the common relationship issues of today and how our generation of millennials and Gen Zs can build truly fulfilling relationships. Today, we'll be talking about a topic that many of us feel but don't quite have the words for, which is loneliness in relationships. So, Dale, have you actually felt lonely in any of your relationships before?
Yes, I have. I have felt lonely many times in my previous relationships, and I have felt lonely during certain incidents that have happened in our relationship too. So, for example, in my first marriage, on the surface, it looked like it was fine. We both had jobs and there was a house, and everything just seemed to be going as per the textbooks, as per what people say is normal. But then when you come back home after you've worked, when you're sitting on the couch together, you're watching a show, you just know that you're just coexisting together. There is no closeness, there is no intimacy. Something is just feels missing, right? I was in my 20s then, and I kept thinking it was my mistake, that I wasn't putting enough initiative into the relationship, that I needed to turn the heat up in the relationship, that I needed to initiate intimacy in the relationship. And when I brought the lack of intimacy and the feelings of loneliness that I was feeling to my parents or to his parents, all I got was, oh, the way you dress is too modern. It is not attractive enough. So maybe he does not feel attracted to you. Or maybe you should wear clothes that are a little more revealing and not cover yourself up. Imagine a 20-year-old being told something like that by your own parents or in-laws. It was very devastating. It was really devastating for me as a person to have gone through something like that. So I tried everything I possibly could. I tried to turn the heat on. I tried to see how we could be more intimate. I tried to plan dates. It was one-sided. All the planning I was doing. The planning for the dates, the booking of hotels for us to try to be intimate. Everything was just on me. I was in that relationship for 7 years. And every growing year, I just felt that intimacy. There was no intimacy from the start. That is one thing. But the divide, the drift, that loneliness in me just kept growing more and more and more. I didn't have the words for this then. Now I do. Now I understand
I
it.
think for our generation, the kind of environment that we grew up in, loneliness was not considered important, not given enough attention in relationships. And there's also the belief in certain cultures that if a couple is drifting apart, it is the woman's role to bring the couple back together again.
And also there was this belief system that if you're in an intimate relationship, you're married, you cannot feel lonely because there are people around you. Or they'd say, there's so many relatives around you. How can you feel lonely?
I think it can make the experience even more painful because you are feeling something inside, but then outside, people are invalidating what you're feeling. People are like, oh no, everything looks fine. Why are you still feeling lonely?
So in the end, it was like, okay, maybe because you're flying so much. I was doing very well as cabin crew. And that is why this relationship is going down. So eventually, I quit my job. I got a job which was your corporate day-to-day job, but it didn't change. I still was in that relationship for a few years after I resigned. It was the same thing. And then in the end, I realized that actually he was not attracted to women. So 7 years I was married to the man. And then after 7 years, he came out of the closet. So that is one example of me feeling lonely in a previous relationship.
So for audiences who might be feeling that, but they don't have the words, what are some of the things that, if you will recall, what you were feeling then, what were some of the telltale signs that you were actually feeling lonely in that relationship?
I think one of the things is like you feel like you are making all the decisions by yourself. You just have a feeling that only you are putting the effort into the relationship, but the other person is not reciprocating. They're coming along, they're tagging along, they're pretending that everything is okay, but they're not putting the effort in. But I don't know if that is, not everybody might be in a situation like me, right? Like this person got married knowing that he is gay. So I think using that as an example may not be accurate, but maybe I can share, like in our relationship, there have been moments of loneliness. Like after we've had a fight and we take time apart, and then I'm sitting with my parts in pain, and I do feel lonely in those moments. Lonely because I feel disconnected to you. I don't know what you are going through. At the back of my mind, I know our relationship is secure. But in that moment, when I'm moving through the pain, the way you move through pain is different than the way I move through pain. So in those moments when you need your space to process, I feel disconnected. So what do you feel? You feel like there is a disconnection. Like, for example, you're trying to switch on a light, but the light's not turning on. The plug is connected, the switch is on. But when you remove the circuit board, you realize that the wires that connects to the nodes, one of the wire is off. That's how loneliness feels in a relationship. As a child, I used to help my dad with a lot of DIY in the house. So I know how to fix light bulbs. You take out, there's a plus circuit and a minus, and you're going to remove the wire and connect. So if the wire is slightly off, the light won't work. So you just know it's slightly off. That is how it feels. What about you? Have you felt lonely in any of your previous relationships, and how does that feel?
I think I'll share what it felt on my side when we were having conflicts in the past. I would also feel lonely. That loneliness came from, I'm feeling a very strong emotion, like a huge anger or pain or upset or like a dagger in my heart. And all that pain wanted was for someone to see it. But you were feeling your own pain at the same time. So it was like, it's not possible for you to completely hear me out and feel what I'm feeling. And so what I can describe it as, it actually feels like a part of my body has been torn off. Yeah. When I reflect deeply on it, what I realize is connection is our nature.
Yes.
It
The
is
natural state of human beings is connection. We crave for connection. Yes, that's
so
true.
it's like when you take a child away from a mother, like they do at animal slaughterhouses. It's so painful to watch because we understand that feeling of having something that is a part of you being taken away.
Like forcefully being pulled away from you. Yes, yes.
So in a relationship, especially in a romantic relationship where you have formed a bond, when you have a rupture, a trigger, a strong emotion that pulls you apart, it feels like that. It feels like a part of you has been torn away.
Forcefully being pulled away, yes.
And you cannot get it back. So there is a grief, there is a pain, and a deep aloneness that I felt.
What about in your previous relationships? Not necessarily intimate. It could also be, say, with your parents, your mom, for example, your dad, your siblings. Because loneliness, a lot of times people think is only limited to intimate relationships. But loneliness can be experienced in friendships, in extended family as well. Have you felt lonely that way?
Yeah, I have felt with my family as well. I think there was a time when I was with my previous partner of 6 years. I was with a guy and it wasn't understood by my family. I felt very lonely in that time because I felt not seen. I felt like because of my choice of romantic partnership, there was a wall between my parents and me.
So that loneliness was more like a lack of connection, like some sort of a distance. But the loneliness you felt when we have a fight and we are taking time apart is more like a rupture, like a
Yeah.
forceful pull away. But this loneliness you felt is more like there
A
is
lack
kind
of
of
acceptance.
lack of it, like there's a
Yeah.
wall, like there is
Yeah.
connection, but you can't get through that wall and reach to the other.
I felt like this is who I am, but you're only accepting a part of me, not the rest of me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was the part of me that felt rejected, that felt lonely. Something that we want to share with the audience is when we feel lonely, it might not necessarily be the whole of us. It
True.
might just be a part of us that is
Yes.
feeling lonely,
Yes.
but that part is so overwhelming and so
Yes.
intense that we feel it completely.
Especially when you're not aware of it. You're
Yeah.
not aware enough to separate your parts from one
Yeah.
another. So in this conversation already, we have discovered that there is 3 variations of feeling
Lonely,
lonely. Actually,
yeah.
4. One is like the circuit board, there is a disconnect, right? One is a forceful rupture.
Yeah.
Another one is like there is this wall of partial acceptance. A part of me is being accepted, but a part of me is completely being rejected, or there's pretense that that other part does not exist. So to say that there's just one way a person feels lonely, or loneliness means just one symptom, it is not possible to put
Yeah.
it or to box it that way.
Yeah.
There could be many different ways people
Yeah.
feel lonely.
Something that we want to share is that loneliness is part of the human experience. You can't go through life and not feel loneliness at all.
Can you expand a
Yeah.
bit on that? Because that's interesting.
Yeah.
You say loneliness is a part of human experience. What does that mean?
Loneliness starts from the moment we are born. Because
Okay.
loneliness, if we go to the core of it, it is simply a lack of connection.
Okay.
Simply disconnection. And so when we are in our mother's womb, we are completely connected to her. We feel what our mothers are feeling.
Oh yes, yes. The infant feels.
And
Yes.
she feels what we are feeling.
Yes.
We're so intimately, so close and interwoven that there's this sense of safety and warmth and belonging. But the moment we are born, that's the first time that we are separated from something that we were so close to.
Yes.
That is our first feeling of loneliness as a human being. When that umbilical cord was
Yes,
cut,
yes, yes.
that was the first feeling
Yes.
of loneliness that we ever had.
Those days it was more like the minute you're born, they cut the umbilical cord immediately. At least nowadays, they say the research has found that you keep the umbilical cord connected for how many minutes, it actually benefits the baby and the mother as well. But if you look at the tribes, the way the umbilical cord, the whole thing is processed is very different. You don't forcefully cut it like that. You kind of wait till the beat has completely ceased. So yes, all those things do add trauma as well.
So when we are feeling lonely in a relationship, what is really happening? Is it just me? Because in many relationships that we have seen, one partner feels there's something off, but the other partner is like, oh, everything is fine. So when we are feeling lonely, is it just me, or is it actually a relationship issue? Before we continue, we want to share something that might be helpful for you. Relationships are like building a house. You build from the foundation up. Most advice focuses on communication, love languages, attachment styles, childhood patterns. While these are useful, none of it lasts if the foundation is weak. You can have the most beautiful interior design, but if the foundation is cracked, the furniture doesn't matter.
Here are some deeper questions to ask. Are your and your partner's core values aligned? Are both of you prioritizing your relationship the same way? Do you share the same understanding of what it takes to make a relationship work? Are both of you walking along the same path or walking apart? After 7 years in practice and working with over 1,000 clients, we've brought everything that we have learned into one course, which is called the Sacred Relationship Foundational Course. Now, this course is based on our signature approach, which is the Sacred Trust Method. This course gives you everything you need to know to rebuild your relationship for a lifetime of growth and intimacy. The Sacred Relationship Foundational Course fixes the cracks in your foundation, your mismatched priorities and goals, and gives you the real tools you need to handle tough conversations and reconnect.
If you and your partner have grown apart and want expert, proven tools to find your way back to each other without years of therapy, check the link below. All right, back to the conversation. So when we are feeling lonely, is it just me or is it actually a relationship issue?
I feel there are many facets to this question. We must understand one thing. As human beings, we are multifaceted. And to box us into one thing is not possible. Like, for example, there could be of the two partners, one partner whose innate tendency is to grow. And for them, growth looks different. For this person, the need for growth may be accelerated, which means they don't like to be stagnant. They want to growth at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. The other partner is also growing, but maybe their preference for growth is 10 kilometers an hour. So often there is that mismatch. So the person who's moving at 50 kilometers per hour will feel lonely, especially as the distance starts to grow. This person is still growing the 10 kilometers per hour, but they're growing much slower than this person. Then often what happens is this person needs to either compromise or it goes so far that they separate. So that can also cause loneliness. So it is not necessarily to say, is it a me issue or a relationship issue? Sometimes it is the tendencies of the individual that tends to be different. And also another thing to understand is most of the times the feminine nature, which is more predominant in women, likes to grow, likes to progress, likes to expand. If you look at nature, nature is also more feminine. Even this little bit of soil a plant gets, it wants to grow. So in a relationship, usually the woman is more in touch with her feminine side. The man is more in touch with his masculine. So the minute she notices something is stagnating in the relationship, something is not okay, maybe parenting styles are not aligning, she is going to bring it up. She's going to fight about it. She's going to say something's got to change. Something is off here. This is not okay. That is not okay. If it's an equal partnership where both the husband and wife are aligned, the husband's like, okay, my wife is bringing something up. That means something is not right. Let's sit down, let's inquire. Now, that is an intentional relationship. An intentional relationship is one where both partners are aligned. But not all relationships are like that.
That's one of the common reasons why people feel lonely, which I would call a loneliness of purpose. That's something that I've experienced in my previous relationship. We were very close and we enjoyed each other's company. But slowly in that relationship, I started feeling like our paths were diverging. It's just a feeling like I'm alone on my path now. And I really want my partner to be with me, growing in the same direction, but he seems to be going in a different direction. And when I entered this relationship between us, it felt aligned. Even though we are two separate individuals who are unique and have our own wants, needs, feelings, fundamentally we're moving towards the same direction. We have the same idea of the kind of relationship we want to build, the kind of future that we want to build. So I think loneliness can come if a couple or two individuals feel like the kind of future that they want to build or the goals that they have in life are not the same.
That's lack of an aligned purpose, right? So two things we brought up. One is one person is moving at a faster pace of growth and the other person is moving slowly. This person who's moving faster is trying to pull the other partner along, but because this partner is comfortable where they are, this person starts to feel lonely. And as that distance grows, the loneliness grows and they kind of move apart. And that's something we have seen happening with many couples who come to us for therapy as well. The second reason is when there is lack of aligned purpose, a common shared goal, a common path, common core values, where we are saying, no, we both got to grow at the same speed. We both want to work together to achieve these goals. So it's not that I'm the only one who keeps poking you and saying, hey, we got to grow here. You also know that. You also poke me and you also like,
we're not doing enough in this area.
Yes, we have to grow.
We are stagnating.
Yes. So that is an intentional relationship. Intentional relationship at its base is we know that the purpose of the relationship is to grow together.
Second reason why loneliness can happen is a lack of emotional connection. This is something that we talked about earlier in our relationship when both of us are feeling a trigger or emotional pain.
Yes.
There is loneliness because we feel like our partner is not seeing our internal world. We're not feeling seen and heard. That's another form of loneliness that can come when partners cannot be vulnerable with each other. And I think when it comes to a lack of emotional connection, it can actually be both an individual issue and a relationship issue.
Okay.
It can be an individual issue because of our past experiences. Some of us have walls, mental and emotional walls that we put up to protect ourselves.
Yes.
We're afraid to share our vulnerable feelings with others because we're afraid of being hurt.
Yes.
This can make it difficult for someone to share their feelings with others, to trust others, and to form a more intimate relationship with others. The second individual issue that can cause lack of emotional connection is when someone is not in touch with their own emotions. I see this happening with many men, especially because we are taught as men that men should not show emotions. It's either you can't feel sadness or
Yes.
vulnerable because that's not manly, or if you have anger, that's also not correct because
You're raging away then.
you are dangerous
Or you're
you're-
manipulated.
yeah. When we are not in touch with our own emotions, that loneliness actually comes because the emotions in us are feeling lonely. When we reject our emotions, it's like we're splitting a part of us away from us. So it's like the
Umbilical cord.
umbilical cord is being stretched far away, almost to the point of breaking. And that emotion in us feels lonely. It's like that movie Inside Out where the person has many emotions.
Yes.
It's the same in our psychology. We have different parts of us that feel different things, and when we push them aside, they feel lonely. We feel their loneliness because they are a part of us.
Yes. So, how would we explain this to somebody who is hearing this for the first time? So, to simplify it further, is to say that you are one ball. Like if you're going to take Play Doh, like you're one full Play Doh. And then as you move through life, parts of your Play Doh gets hurt because of various things. Could be a friend, could be something your parents said, could be something your teacher said in school. And a part of the Play Doh gets bumped, right? I wish I had Play Doh now. So maybe that part gets bumped and that part becomes angry, the anger part. Maybe another part gets bumped and becomes the sad part. And then you are still there in the center, but all these parts are there on the surface. Anytime an incident happens or occurs, anytime in your life, and this part that was angry gets pressed again, then there is more anger added to it, or it starts to express itself. The reason it expresses itself is not because it wants people outside to know it exists. It actually wants you, who is in the center of that Play-Doh, to know that it exists. And it wants to be healed. It wants you to understand it, you to talk to it, and you to help it heal. But because you are unaware, because you don't know that this is there, so this anger then goes to whoever's nearest to it.
And for most people, it's the partner.
For most people, it is your intimate relationship, or before you have relationships, when you're younger, it's your parents. And why it's going to them is because it's saying, I exist. This person who actually owns me doesn't hear me. So can you do something about it? But then imagine there's two Play-Dohs next to each other with their own hurt and everything. So when your anger comes out, this other Play-Doh, who's your partner or your mother or your whoever, who has the Play-Doh, who has the anger bump, that anger bump comes out and says, oh, but I'm also angry. Why? You want me to resolve, who's going to resolve my anger? So that's what happens in unconscious relationships, relationships that are not intentional. And then what happens as that grows in your intimate relationship? You start to just sit on a sofa like this. And when you don't want to trigger the person, so you're going to be sitting like this, doing your own thing. And your partner will be sitting there doing their own thing. Right? That is another reason of loneliness. The disconnect you spoke about. Because when my anger comes out, your anger comes out, and it causes more anger and more pain in us. I'd rather just sit quietly like a roommate and just do my own thing because I'm so afraid to trigger your anger. But the reality is, I don't know that this anger which belongs to me is accumulated over my lifetime. I need to do something about this anger. This relationship is not causing the anger. The anger already existed in me.
Yeah, yeah. So I think in this instance where there's a lack of emotional connection, it is both. It's both the individual and the relationship.
Yes.
Because the individual has the responsibility to raise their awareness, to identify the emotions in them, to sit with them and to understand them,
Yes.
and to hold them rather than rejecting them.
Yes.
And in the relationship, two partners can create a safe space
Yes.
for them to do this inner work
Yes.
individually and together.
Yes.
Because if you start to do this inner work, but your partner is not doing the inner work, then you can feel very lonely.
Yes.
And also, if when you start to do the inner work, those emotions can unconsciously spill out.
Yes.
And it happens a
Yes.
lot because we are not perfect. It's not
Yes.
like we can perfectly take charge of our emotions
Yes.
all the
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Sometimes when an old trauma or an old hurt is coming up in you because it was triggered by your partner, maybe your partner said, why did you not do the dishes properly? And then it triggers your childhood trauma of being criticized a lot, maybe by
Yes.
adults around you.
Yes. Yes.
That feeling of being blamed and
Yes.
anger actually needs your attention. So the partner needs to also be understanding that this emotion that is coming up in me is actually looking for my attention and to hold that safe space for me
Yes.
to work through this emotion.
Yes.
If the partner also reacts, then it'll be
Which is
harder
what
for
happens
me.
in most marriages,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
That's what happens. I mean, the people who are listening to this, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, great. Kavitha and Kester, you guys are therapists, so you know how to deal with this, and you can therapize each other, and you can understand your parts, and you can unpack it easily. But most of the times, what happens is we end up blaming the partner, we end up criticizing the other. So, again, I think what we can end later on in the podcast, and we want you to stay tuned till the end because we will give you a simple practice. What you can do, like what Kester is explaining. How can you start sitting with that Play Doh of you and all these bumped parts of you, whether it's anger, the sadness? What can you start doing as an individual first so that you can heal the loneliness these parts of you feel? Because maybe you have rejected them. You don't like your angry self. Maybe you don't like your sad self. Maybe you don't like your frustrated self. And you're like, just go away. I don't want you here. But that causes more loneliness because you are disconnecting you from you. There was this one client I had. She has all these different parts of her that feels lonely, feels disconnected. And then when we're doing session inner child work, she realized that, oh my God, these parts of me was going to my husband, expecting him to rescue me, expecting him to rescue them, whether it was a 13-year-old or 14-year-old. And then I wasn't even aware that I was getting angry with him, or this part of me was getting angry with him because he did not fulfill the expectation my part had on him. And he didn't even know my part had this expectation. So, for those of you who are watching and are thinking that, hey, Kavitha and Kester, whatever, you guys are like, but we can't do it. You need to start to understand that both of you need to work on developing awareness. So, we'll give you an exercise at the end.
I wanted to share one more type of loneliness that we've come across that is very common, which is a loneliness due to a lack of presence.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
And that's very common today because our lives are so busy.
Like just yesterday evening, we were trying to arrange one of those part-time maids to come and clean our house. What should have by right through an app made my life easy, took us 1 hour and frustration of just trying to find a helper.
2 hours actually.
2 hours.
Yeah. Because we wanted the slot was not available, and then the service that we wanted was not. Yeah.
Like, you know what? I just take the vacuum and clean the house. Maybe in those 2 hours, I could have finished cleaning the house there.
Yeah. And then we were actually talking about it that because we have so many of these chores to do that we don't have time to be present with each other.
Exactly.
And presence means Do you see me? Are you fully here with me?
Or are you sitting on the phone, like I'm
Yeah.
telling you something and you're like, okay, open. I order Red Mart, or I order,
Yeah.
by the way, Red Mart didn't sponsor us. Huh? I order Red Mart, or I order this one, or I order that one, or I open Shopee, or Shopee also didn't sponsor us. Shopee open, I want to place an order. And then your partner's like, hey dear, why aren't you paying attention to me? And this happens a lot because maybe I'll bring it to you and say, oh dear, we are out of sugar. And then you immediately whip your phone out and I'm like, dear, what are you doing? I'm ordering the sugar you told me to order. I'm like, that's what you're talking about, right? Lack of presence.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just simple things like, did you notice that I did my hair differently today? Do you notice that I was feeling a bit off today? Sometimes even when we don't have the phone,
Yes.
we might not be fully present as well because we might be thinking about something else.
Oh my God, that
We
happens
might
so
not
much.
be fully connecting with what our partner is trying to share with us,
Yes,
or what our partner's experience is. We are thinking about, oh, how should I reply this person? Or tomorrow I have to do this.
Yes,
Even though your
yes,
partner's trying to share something intimate
yes,
with you,
yes,
you're not fully present because your mind is somewhere else.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have to do a different podcast on that, on mental load.
Yeah.
So maybe we won't go into mental load today because it's a
It's a huge topic, yes.
So just to say that there is lack of presence because of heavy mental load that we in today's society experience. Is that good to say in one sentence?
Yeah. So I think that's one also very common cause of loneliness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have talked about many different types of loneliness today. If there are any types of loneliness that you experience that we did not manage to cover today, leave it in the comments and we'll do another episode on those different types of loneliness.
Or if you have any questions about loneliness or any challenges that you are facing in your relationship, you can put it in the comments below as well. And we'll try our best to address it in one of the future episodes.
So let's go into what can people actually do when they feel lonely in a relationship. I think a misconception that some people have is, oh, if I feel lonely in a relationship, then maybe I should suggest dates, or maybe we should have a child, or maybe
Oh
we
my
should
God.
go on a holiday together and have some experiences together.
Yeah.
And what we hear quite often is that some people do eventually end up having a child or going on these holidays to reconnect.
Yes.
But there is a slump after the child is born or after the holiday. They feel like, how come I'm feeling even more lonely after having these highs? What do you think is happening?
It's beautiful, dear, that you raised this myth that people have. Oftentimes they say, oh, just have a child and it's going to fix your loneliness. Or go on a holiday and your loneliness will be fine. Or maybe I should chase the new promotion or get a bigger house or something like that and it'll fix the loneliness. And here's what I say. If you're feeling lonely, please don't bring a child into that mixture and make it suffer as well. I know right now birth rates in Singapore around the world actually are dipping down. And if I'm going to say something like this, it is pretty controversial, but I'm going to say that again. Make sure your marriage is strong first before you decide to bring a child into that mixture. A child will not fix your marriage, it will make it worse. But if your relationship is strong, the child will grow up in a healthy relationship. Then the future prospects the child has will be much better. So, one simple exercise that I can suggest for a person to do as an individual first when they start to want to work on improving their relationship is to first start to identify your Play Doh and what are the different bumps in the Play Doh. Because if you're not even aware of the reasons why you feel lonely, it is just one big rojak or a big mishmash of reasons. Today it's your partner, tomorrow it's the way your parents raised you, day after tomorrow it's a bus driver on the road who didn't stop. The fourth day it could be somebody who crossed the road and looked at you a weird way. So you're blaming everybody except sitting down, being present with yourself and trying to understand why is this loneliness existent. There is going to be more than one reason you will find. So simple exercises, set aside once a week, twice a week if possible, that's a bonus, about 15 to 20 minutes. Get yourself a journal, preferably paper and a pen. There is a lot of science to show that when you write, the way your brain processes things is way different from when you type. It is processed better when you write. Okay? Get a pen and a paper and write down very simply the different times you felt lonely. That's the first exercise you do. Identify, I felt lonely when my partner, every evening when my partner just sits on the sofa and is playing with his phone. I feel lonely when I am back in the house and I have finished all the chores and I have no idea what to do next. I feel lonely when I'm with a group of friends and we're all just sitting there because we know we kind of got to be there, but we don't actually feel connected to each other. I feel lonely when I'm in the MRT in the evening and I'm standing there and I'm like, what the heck am I doing with life? So you make a list of all the times in you. So start with, I feel lonely when. Make a list. That's the first step, to identify the different times in your life when you feel lonely. And there will be more than one.
That's a really nice way to connect to yourself.
Yes, dear.
Because many times when we feel lonely, it's actually a part of us that is wanting our attention.
Yes.
If you're not a therapist, I can understand why this feels a bit weird. It's like, how come there's a whole community of people
inside me. Oh, but
yeah.
it is.
But this is actually this proven by psychology, and this is something that we experience every day with our clients and in our own lives. There are parts of you that are separate. What I mean by separate is they have their own personality, their own history, their own experiences.
Their own wants and needs.
And loneliness is one of those parts. It can be one of those parts. And when a part of you feels lonely, what it's looking for is, can someone be with me? Can someone sit with me, be present with me?
Can someone understand me?
And it will look to somebody else to hold that space for it to feel connected. But sometimes people around you don't have the time, are not able to, don't
or
have
they
the
have
skills.
their own loneliness fragments in them. Everybody has aspects of them that is something like this.
And so this exercise is, I think, really helpful for you to sit with that loneliness on your own and start to feel that emotional connection in yourself first.
Yes.
This is what we tell all our clients. When you connect yourself more deeply, you'll be able to connect your partner more deeply as well.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So would you like to give another simple exercise?
I'll suggest an exercise that you can do if you feel the type of loneliness where there isn't a shared purpose, where you feel like you're walking on different paths and moving in different directions.
Okay.
A very powerful exercise that you can do is to start to write down, where do you see the relationship going? What is your future idea of where you like to be with this person? Many couples who have done this exercise realize that actually they want the same thing.
Yes.
In that moment, it feels like they are doing different things.
Yes.
But when they actually start to think about it, okay, what is my vision for the kind of family that I want? Where are we living? What are we doing? What kind of moments are we experiencing?
Yes.
You realize that it's actually very similar. And that puts two partners back on the same page because now you have a common goal to work towards. So sit down with your partner first, individually write down what is your vision for the relationship, and then share with each other. You can do either 10 or 20 years. Where do you see the relationship in 10 and 20 years?
Yes, I really like that exercise you shared. I think that's a good visioning exercise where you're getting a common purpose or a common goal together. You may have spelt it out during your dating years, but maybe you forgot about it when you got busy getting the BTO la, the renovation la, the child la, the preschool la to get into the top, though they say all schools are the same, the top primary schools or the COE la for getting the new car upgrade or whatever. So maybe you got busy and you forgot about these things. So I think it's a very powerful exercise. And it's actually something we do, right? Every year we sit down and say, how has this year been? What is our goals? Did we achieve them? Next year we set our goals. But also we have set a bigger trajectory, like 5 years, what do we want to, 10 years, what do we want to do? And how do we move ahead with that? So thank you for sharing that beautiful exercise. So you can decide which of the two you want to do. And if there are any other practices you all do, any other exercises you may be trying that you find useful, that you think that others, if they hear it, they would also find it useful, put it in the comments below.
So I think we've covered quite a lot today.
Oh, yes.
I think if any of you are feeling lonely, I think what we want you to take away from today is that it's okay to feel lonely.
You
It
are
is
not
a
alone.
normal part.
You're not alone.
And it's a normal part of the human experience. And it
Yes,
doesn't
yes.
mean that something is wrong with you or wrong with the relationship.
Yes.
Loneliness is a sign, a signal that something needs attention.
Yes. And loneliness is not a phase. It is not like, oh, this is my lonely phase. No, it coexists. It's not bad to feel lonely. It's not bad to feel bored. Like my son says, I'm bored. I say, okay, great. What do you want to do about your boredom? It is the moment or the lull period which you can utilize in many ways. You can sit down with yourself. You can understand, why do I feel lonely? And get creative with it. From that space, from that, I call it like the void, that lonely void, from that lonely void, a million possibilities can be born. If only you are brave enough to sit with that loneliness and notice what possibilities can be born for yourself as an individual and in the relationship. Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful way to end this
Yes.
podcast. We'll see you at the next episode.
Yes.